if this is even clean. Not bad. I wonder if that's not gonna do a static pressure test on that. Be a waste of time. So dirty. I just want to make sure it's running. And technically it is. For this being as old as it is, it's got this fairly new nest on it. But let's just go ahead and go through the regular. I would clean the flame sensor, ohm out the safeties, make sure there's not a whole lot of rust in the way. Clean out the pressure tube port and blow out all this dust the best that I can. Go from there. I'm not going to be able to clean the outdoor unit. They want me to try to square this up on the pad, but I'm kind of iffy. I mean, it's already a R22 system. I do not want to try to bend this and move it and end up kinking the line set. I mean, I could, if time permitted and was able to get approval for it, I could pump everything down to the condenser, disconnect that there, use my benders, make that look all nice, add insulation, and then reconnect it back. But even then, I mean, it's square. It's not square on the pad, but it does look fairly centered, in my opinion. If anybody has any ideas on how I could do it without kinking the line sets and still making that look pretty darn pretty, leave it in the comment section for me. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and just flame sensor has been cleaned. That hot surface igniter has been replaced fairly recently. I used my mirror to kind of look behind there to see if the flame spreader on the sides of each burner were rusty. They were actually fairly clean. I don't know if somebody's been here recently, but we're gonna go ahead and cut it on and just make sure everything fires right back up. Make sure this thermostat's making a call for heat, and it is. Reducer draft motor's running. I did also blow out that tube. I took that end off and blew it back that way, because if you take it off the other way and blow it, you're going to damage the diaphragm inside the pressure switch for sure. Let's make sure that hot surface igniter glows. Is. That actually seemed pretty fast. I want to try that again, because it didn't take long for that thing to glow, and then it just, I've never seen a hot surface igniter go that fast. Flip this around. That was for a little bit longer. That first time though did not seem like it took long enough. But go ahead and get my probes in the duct and make sure everything's running right. A little bit of flickers of orange, but that's probably due from all the dust and stuff I blew around up in there and was using my wire brush to scrape off in certain places, so all that debris probably got on there a little bit. But make sure the Delta T is within range, and we can go ahead and get on up out of here. I got some doctor's appointments to go to. Wasn't able to do a whole lot on this preventative maintenance. Couldn't really clean the outdoor unit because there's no water to the property, and honestly it's one of the most reoccurring issues to happen when we're asked to come out to these rentals and do a preventative maintenance. I'm sure a lot of other service techs run into this problem as well, but I wanted to take the time to talk about a problem that I wasn't able to film early this morning that had to deal with a video I previously made where I diagnosed a bad thermostat wire. I should have went the extra mile just to see if there was any slack in the thermostat wire, and it probably would have saved me from this issue. That property management had their electricians come out and get ready to run a new wire so we could replace the entire system, and one of them found that there was a splice in the thermostat wire following the line set that I diagnosed as a bad wire. Luckily, I was already downtown, so I told the electrician I could meet him there and be able to figure out, like, hey, maybe the splice just has a loose connection. And that, as soon as we got there, took the wire nuts off, reconnected the wire at the air handler from when me and my partner were swapping wires around, which honestly is what if the wires hadn't have been spliced, that would have been the right move, but we didn't know that there was a splice. So after putting them all back together the correct way, found out I do have 24 volts going where I needed to. So the electricians didn't have to run a new wire, and I owned up to the mistake. I talked to the property management lady as soon as I was there and we found out. I called my boss just to let him know, hey, I goofed up, and it's probably going to eat at me for the next couple hours. I'll just be like, man, I wish I should have caught that from the jump. But just like a lot of the technicians that trained me and my boss, just said like, hey, thanks for owning up to it. It's a good thing you did that. Mistakes happen. Everybody misses something. It's just always good to own up to it and not try to pass it off as, like that mistake was never there, or lie and say you did diagnose it and it end up, I just saved those electricians from probably 4 hours worth of work, because they would have had to go up. That was the main floor of the JB White building, so then they would have to go through the first floor apartments, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor just to get to the roof. And the property management would have had to make sure they could get into all of those apartments that corresponded to that. So it had just been a gigantic headache that, that we ended up stopping them from having to do. So I'm happy about that. And, we still get to do the install. So that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, it's always just better to own up to your mistakes than to try to seem like you're perfect. And Lord knows, ain't none of us perfect. So with that being said, I hope everybody else has a great Monday, and good job Lions yesterday for the dub. I don't think we'll win the NFC, but because everybody's saying the NFL is rigged right now, but a Lion fan can hope. So everybody have a good day. Thanks.